Hello. A long time ago, I raised a son to know his Spielberg from his Schneider.
Now we're turning our arguments into content. This is I Am Your Father, where Gen X meets Gen Z in hyperspace.
Woo!
Yeah.
Never told me the odds, son. Never told me the odds.
Alrighty.
Yeah, we're here for another set. It's been a fun day in terms of some Marvel news, and we're going to talk a little bit about. We've also got quite a bit of Marvel news, I think, really, is what we're going to be doing a lot of talk about. We've got a new Marvel-themed ranking today as well, which will be a lot of fun. We're going to play a few games, quiz each other. You continue to make me feel old and approaching senility. And
that is my job.
Yeah. So you want to get started with a game of sorts, just to kind of wet the whistle?
Absolutely. The first game we're going to play is just going to be guessing character. It's going to be 20 questions in basically 60 seconds. So you are going to have 60 seconds to guess the character that I am thinking of. So let me go ahead and pull up my stopwatch real quick.
Okay.
The only starting point you have is that it will be a comic character, okay?
A comic book character.
That is correct.
All right. Let me know when to start.
60 seconds begins now.
Okay, are we talking about a hero?
Yes.
Okay. And does this hero have superpowers?
They do.
Okay. Are we talking about Marvel?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And from there, let's see. Male?
Male.
Okay. Has this character been a part of the MCU?
No.
No. Well, that throws me off a little bit. So I feel like, let's see. Is this character part of a famous team?
Yes.
Okay.
And you have 15 seconds.
Okay. I'm going to think that we are probably talking about Mr. Fantastic?
Nope.
Okay. Am I, let's see. But, so not the Fantastic Four?
No, not the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
For your sake, I'm going to throw on an extra 30 seconds.
For my sake, that minute went by really fast. 20 questions in a minute is nuts.
It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Who else do we need to talk about?
You're forgetting the biggest team.
The biggest team in. So we're talking about an X-Man, right?
Yep.
Okay. And not yet in the MCU because I guess technically most of them haven't been. Are we talking about so they were in the X-Men movies?
Correct.
Okay. Wolverine?
Nope. And for the record, we're just screwing the timer for this first game. We're just
screwing the timer because we've never done this game before?
Yeah. We're just going to let you get there.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. And so from there we are we're thinking about were they a leader of the team in any way?
No.
Okay. And they have a particular love interest?
No.
Okay.
Maybe in the comics, but not that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. Okay. So I am thinking maybe. Well, it's got to be. I mean, I could start naming MCU characters here, but does the person have an accent?
Yes, they do.
Okay. Colossus?
No.
Gambit?
No.
Wow. And I'm looking for more. What about Nightcrawler?
There you go.
There we go. That was
there
took me
you
a little
go.
while to get there. Okay.
It did take you a little while. That was maybe closer to 3 minutes, but
yeah.
Well, I don't know that you did the best at really narrowing it down. You kind of got to the X-Men and then you just started
naming off people.
Naming X-Men.
Yeah. The anxiety of 20 questions really throws me off a little bit.
I get it.
Yeah.
We'll see how it is when the roles are reversed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, next time you're on the clock. Okay. So shall we get going with our 10 and 20?
Yes. Let's hop into it.
We're
going to cheat a little bit today.
We're going to cheat a little today because we have one really big topic that we're going to give several slots to. In fact, by my count, something in the neighborhood of 4 slots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Well, why don't you kick us off and get that timer rolling?
Yes, absolutely. Timer coming up now. Alrighty. So, first topic is going to be Austin Butler and Jeremy Allen White to star in A24 spy thriller named Enemies. Do you have any thoughts on this? I
love the idea. I love that A24 is going in this type of direction with this genre. I love the casting. I've really enjoyed both Butler and White in the last many things that they've done. So I'm very excited to see where this one's going.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm always down for a good spy thriller. Those are 2 great actors. Austin Butler kind of coming out of nowhere with his Disney come up, you know?
Yeah.
But I would agree that I have been thoroughly impressed with pretty much everything he's been in the last couple of years. And same thing with Jeremy Allen White, even though I have not seen The Bear. Everybody tells me I need to watch it.
You're missing out for sure. Yeah.
I will add it to the list of TV shows to watch. At this point, I'm not sure I will ever get caught up.
I think a segment for the pod going forward is it should be what Braden should be watching. That's why. You certainly consume more film, and you certainly consume more film, and I do more TV. But yeah, I mean, you definitely caught me off recently with Invincible and a few others that you wanted me to get caught up on. So,
yeah, absolutely.
All right, topic number 2, Thunderbolts. We're getting close to release, and what are your thoughts? You looking forward to this? Is this a pass or a smash here, my friend?
I have to be honest, and I'm somewhat optimistic. I think every trailer they've put out has looked really intriguing, even with a lineup that I wouldn't initially say is something I was excited about.
Yeah,
the trailers are winning me over. Anytime to see some more Winter Soldier, I'm here for it. But I don't even know that he'll be a main character. I think just based on the trailer, there's going to be a tone here that we haven't quite seen in a Marvel movie yet, and I think it'll be very interesting. And it's also being reported approximately 2-hour runtime, rumored. Who knows? But to me, I feel like that's kind of a sweet spot. In my older age, I'm appreciating a tight 2-hour movie as opposed to these 3-hour treks.
Did you say in your older age?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you? What do you think?
You're getting old and impatient, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is a smash for me. I'm really looking forward to it. It's the first Marvel movie in a really long time that I've been looking forward to. Very pro Florence Pugh. I think that I've really enjoyed every one of her entries into the MCU. I agree there's a few characters that I'm less interested in, but I think there's 3 to 5 that I think look really cool that I'm excited about, and I also appreciate the tone, and I hope it's good.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I will be there opening at night, obviously.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that as well. So we're hoping this is the best the best Rotten Tomatoes score for an MCU movie in quite a while. We've definitely gone through a string of stinkers.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you feel like? Let's real quick. What do you feel is the last good one?
Somewhat controversial take. I don't think Captain America: Brave New World was all that bad.
Yeah,
I don't think it was great, but at no point was I not entertained. So I will say that I enjoyed that one, but I definitely don't think it was the most recent good Marvel movie. I think maybe the most recent has to be maybe Guardians 3, which was at this point a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I lied. I really enjoyed Deadpool Wolverine. I really did. I actually saw that movie 4 times in theaters, and
I guess we're now having to call that an MCU movie.
Well, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whenever I think of that franchise, I still struggle to think of it as part of the MCU, even though they're Marvel characters. But yeah, that's definitely the last good one. But but it's been few and far between. It's like 1 in 5 for the last 10. I feel like have been good. Maybe something in that range.
All right, moving on, and we'll make this one kind of quick. Coco 2 is in the works. Have you even seen the first?
Yes, but I mean, when you added this to the list, I was like, what? I thought my kids had aged out of of this type of thing. But I mean, is this something you need to tell me? Am I getting close to having a little baby Jedi or what? What's going on here?
Not quite, but I mean, I still enjoy the Pixar movie every now and then. I wouldn't say that I'm so much excited for this though. I just find it interesting. I really enjoyed the first one. I think it's a real tearjerker, and I think the main reason this is on the list is I just kind of find it kind of funny, seeing as, spoiler alert, Coco does not make it out of the first movie. So I'm wondering why it's called Coco 2. I'm sure we'll spend time with her in the afterlife or something like that, but just another sequel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the most part, Pixar does great things. It's interesting. I'm curious if this will be the film that gets them sort of back into dominance from an awards perspective. It's been a little while. I mean, this last year, I think for a lot of people they were third or fourth in line at the Academy Awards for Best Animated.
Absolutely.
I know that Inside Out 2 was a big hit, but there are some other
love.
Yeah, and there are some other they suddenly have some good competition out there, and it's been a little while since they've had good competition. Or it's been a little while since they've really had the one that nobody could stop talking about.
Why don't you take us into number 4?
Yeah, so that takes us. I guess we're going to stay on the topic of animated. I put this one right here because since we were already talking about animated, I think so. It's been recently announced that Angel Studios' next big release that they I believe I don't know, I can't remember what convention they were at, theater owners convention or something like that, but they basically predicted that their release of an animated musical adaptation of the story of David from the Bible would be the highest grossing animated film of all time. Bold statement. This is coming off of their their big sort of surprise hit last year, the not an animated
Sound
film.
of Freedom.
Sound of Freedom, yeah. But yet another movie in a really short period of time where this little upstart studio out of Salt Lake, founded by these Mormon brothers, is getting sued by their creatives again. So right now, David may or may not come out at the end of this year and get that chance to be the highest grossing animated film of all time. This is like Cameron-esque sort of prediction, right? Because they're now being accused of going behind the actual makers back to hold on to merchandising rights and international distribution and things like that. So hopefully this will be interesting to see if they can solve this. But I think this is now like the third film in a row that they've been sued over. All this is, it's all alleged. It's all in the courts. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but I don't know if we're going to get a chance to see this adaptation or not.
Yeah, I didn't even know anything about it until now. So thanks for enlightening me.
Okay.
Well, now I have a question for you for our next.
You're supposed to do your homework, though. You're supposed to do your homework so in advance, so we can argue. I need some hot takes.
Question.
Yes.
Was Jason Momoa born to play Lobo?
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has the look. I mean, right now though, I'm not super excited about this casting for the reason that I'm still also somewhat hesitant about Downey coming back as Doom and things like that. It's like right now the superhero genre has become so ubiquitous that we're just going to start consistently recycling actors now and even going back. So I just feel like not like when Westerns were out where it was like there was a star, they played multiple characters throughout, they were different Westerns. I mean, now with the way that MCU and the DC universe is trying to tell these sort of serialized stories, I just think it'll ultimately end up being distracting, despite the fact that it wasn't as if he was Aquaman for 20 films or something. But anyway, I kind of found myself just wishing they had hired somebody else, but he definitely is on the nose casting for this.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell, but I think in an alternate universe, he was never cast as Aquaman, and he was always meant to play Lobo.
In an alternate,
but we'll see. We'll see.
Would that be in an alternate timeline?
Yeah, absolutely.
A different Earth, perhaps.
I mean, this is just ripped straight out of fan casts. I mean, if the fans could pick somebody, it'd be this guy, which isn't always everything you hope it would be. So, I mean, we will see. But
yeah, and the risk of underplaying my hand here. I don't know that Lobo was necessarily ever a character that was like I was ever super excited about, one way or another. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, want to take us into number 6?
Yeah, let's go from one Jason to another. We've got an announcement that the Bourne franchise is being sold and shopped, and that the new buyers will have the opportunity to reboot the series. I don't have much more information than that, other than the question of like, are you ready for a Bourne reboot? Is that something that you've been pining for?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
I have to say, though, I'm not as big on the original Bourne movies as some other people I know. I have given them a fair shot.
Including me. I love the
two
Bourne
or three
films.
times. 2 or 3 times I've seen those movies, and I never really leave them feeling super excited or satisfied with what I just watched. I find myself get somewhat bored, and I can watch some serious slow burns. They've never been my cup of tea. So I'm not going to be a diehard fan, and I'm not going to be super pissed off about this new news, but I do think we don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, they essentially tried to reboot the franchise once before, and audiences weren't ready for it. Although I think that Jeremy Renner reboot is terribly underrated. I think it's a pretty good movie, actually.
I actually do enjoy that one, I will say.
Yeah.
Which
you like it better than yeah, that's a hot take.
I just might.
I think it's also a pretty hot take that you're suggesting that the Bourne movies are slow. But especially considering
I wouldn't say that they are slow. I'm just saying I find myself bored, and I was more so using the fact that I can get through slow movies to prove that I don't necessarily get bored super easily. I just don't find them super interesting.
And I think they do have an important place in action movie history, in not only the sense that they were solid, but they also, I mean, the Bourne movies were really the inspiration for the most recent Bond reboot.
They really perfected the shaky cam.
Casino Royale and the rest of the Daniel Craig Bond movies were, that tone was, they decided to change that tone dramatically, specifically so that they could compete with the other spy that was out there,
And I think they did it better.
I mean, I think they did it better like twice.
Yeah, a few times. Not every time.
Yeah, not every time. But yeah, so we'll see. I don't know that I'm ready to sign up for it yet either, but I probably will because I was always a big fan. Read the books, etc. Love myself some Bourne.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, you want to get into the meat of this
let's
section?
get into the meat. So why don't you tell the listeners what we're going to talk about here?
Yeah, obviously today, at least at time of recording, there was a live stream that took place over the course of half the day, revealing cast chair one at a time, or crew chair, whatever you call it, showing off the cast list for the upcoming Avengers movie, Doomsday. There were some announcements that were pretty obvious, some interesting ones as well, and then also some notable names not on the list. So I think we should just go over them. I know you took a peek at it earlier, but I was just going to list off who was announced for you, as well as some of those missing names, and we can kind of just talk about it.
Well, let's start with who's there and our thoughts on that.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe the name I'm most excited to see there is Chris Hemsworth as Thor.
So you could have just turned the live stream off right away because he was the first name.
Because he was the first name listed, and I actually thought one of the more surprising names, to be honest. I mean, I had kind of I feel like it's been widely talked about that those heroes from the original phases were not necessarily going to be a part of this, and so to see him and a few others, but particularly Thor, I'm excited about that. He is not necessarily one of my favorite comic book characters, but he's one of my favorite characters in the MCU.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, especially in the back half of the MCU, I have to agree with you. I think Hemsworth really discovered how to play the character right. Maybe if we're not mentioning his most recent appearance, but that's not entirely his fault. But I agree. I think that he's very exciting. And next on the list was Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman. I don't know that anybody is particularly surprised by that. And we can just say that the entire Fantastic Four cast will be in this movie. But we've known this, so no big surprises there. After her was Mackie as Captain America again. really not surprising. They weren't going to have an Avengers movie without Captain America.
They definitely need the new Captain to be a thing, and hopefully we'll see if they can pull it off.
Yeah, I mean, we will see. But then we kind of immediately get into some interesting spoiler territory with a character whose life was potentially in danger, and maybe now not, in an upcoming movie. Their soonest movie coming up here, and that's Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think this was the most problematic part of the announcement to me. Is I mean, it's one thing, the Fantastic Four, the movie's not out, but nobody's expecting any member of the Fantastic Four to die. That's a given.
No.
So no, like you said, no surprise. But to see basically the entire cast of Thunderbolts on this list, sort of, I mean, in some way, doesn't it kind of spoil the movie that's about to come out? They couldn't have cut all those names off the list. There's plenty of firepower on this list without any member of the Thunderbolts.
Especially because I feel like there's a second list that will be hinted at some point. I mean, there are some names missing from this list, so I feel like these names really did not need to be here. And especially, I agree. Honestly, especially him, because he's been around since Phase One. He's been around a long time.
Yeah, so
he's absolutely in danger of ending his run in the MCU at any given time. And
I would have thought too, considering his awards run, that he's like looking at the clock, going like, "Okay, guys, I got one more in me. That's it." But this is a guy now who is going for the Oscar. You know, I mean, and he's certainly not getting it from the MCU.
No, definitely not.
I don't know.
I am a big Bucky fan, so I'm not disappointed. I just find it curious.
Yeah, so we've got Wyatt Russell on there. We've got Florence Pugh. We've got Lewis Pullman, who, by the way, they haven't even really talked too much about what that character is, and so we already know that he's there, and our obviously David Harbour and
Ghost
and Ghost.
I'm forgetting her name, but
Hannah John Kamen.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Basically everybody.
Yep. Getting weird feedback on the headphone there. So yeah, the whole cast. I mean, I'm not seeing what's the one from Black Widow?
Taskmaster.
Taskmaster. I'm not seeing Taskmaster on here, but
which, by the way, people were already like 100% sure that she was going to die pretty quickly in the movie, just based on the trailers for the movie. So again, no surprise there either. So kind of strange, kind of disappointed. I'm kind of hoping that it is a little bit of a red herring and maybe a few of them will actually die, but I don't know that that'll be the case.
Yeah. And then that takes us to Letitia Wright from Black Panther as Black Panther, as the new Black Panther. So that'll be interesting.
Makes
and then
sense.
another surprise too. I feel like I especially after the last Ant-Man movie, I was not necessarily expecting to see Paul Rudd back super fast or in something like this, but we'll see. I guess.
I mean, I definitely was. They were definitely using him to set up the future, and then they clearly kind of had to pivot a little bit.
I was going to say it was a future that I feel like it's a future that ended before it started. So I'm not. I didn't really think they were going to go that way. I think they were going to kind of pretend like that whole thing didn't happen and just move on. But having him back makes it kind of confusing.
But he loves that Marvel bag, so he'll be back. Then one that I found somewhat surprising was Namor. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I don't know exactly how it'll play, but I'm glad we get to see that character back. I thought he gave a great performance in Wakanda Forever. So I'm here for it.
Yeah. This next one I'm pretty excited about. I'm really glad to see our boy Simu back in the saddle.
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting those rings back on. I mean,
it's about time.
Yeah. Super underrated Marvel film, by the way. I think very, very underrated Marvel film, Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a tough third act, I think, but I agree. I think overall it's really solid, really entertaining, and gives us some of the best hand-to-hand action that we've seen in a Marvel movie. And I think it gives a great performance as well, so I'm very glad to see him back. And like I said, it's about time. Yeah. It's been too long.
Had you seen him in anything else before Shang-Chi? Sorry.
Had I? No, I actually had not. I mean, I saw him in Barbie after, but nothing before.
Right. I had previously watched a show that he was on called Kim's Convenience. Couldn't be further away from a Marvel film, but he was very, very funny in that show. Anyway, go ahead. The next one was really fun to see, actually, I thought.
Yeah, so this is when they kind of pivoted a little bit and I think started to give us some stuff we weren't necessarily expecting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Kelsey Grammer as Beast. Well, we assume, but seeing as he just reprised the role less than a year ago, I think that's what would make the most sense. And that marks our first X-Men on this list, which is interesting. I think it's a little bit of a can of worms, bringing in an old cast to play characters for the first time. But I have a few theories and hopes with where they'll take it. But I will also say I like his new design that he had in the Marvels. You saw that or no?
In the Marvels?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good update. I think that I liked him in that role from the beginning. I feel like he adds... I mean, he's getting very old, though. I'm curious. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head how old Kelsey Grammer is, but...
Yeah, he'll be mostly voice acting and motion capture.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is... let's see, how old is Mr. Grammer? Mr. Grammer is... I don't have it yet. We'll figure it out.
We'll come back to it.
He's got to be in his 70s, right?
I have no idea.
I would think 55. Yeah. He's
you were about 15 years off.
No. He's 70 this year.
He's born in 55. I thought you were saying he was 55.
No. He's born in 55. Yeah. So he's 70 this year. Yeah. So I that's an old beast.
Yeah.
He's an old beast,
but a good beast.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that. But yeah, so that was the first X-Men, but not the last by any stretch.
Nope.
We've got a lot more X-Men, and I think a couple even more interesting and more surprising. Like you said, we'd already met him. They already snuck him in. But we got a few more coming. All right. We already covered Louis Pullman on there, and then we get Danny Ramirez, which is not surprising either.
Not surprising. Welcome.
What they're trying to do with that particular franchise.
Yeah, absolutely. But not too exciting necessarily or too surprising. Then moving on, one that I wouldn't have necessarily put money on, but also makes sense would be Winston Duke as M'Baku.
Yeah.
I don't believe he will be playing an extremely pivotal role. But then again, I guess he is the king of Wakanda at the moment. So maybe he will, but...
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of envisioning a scene where they, go back to Wakanda and he tells Black Panther to go do her thing. Kind of.
He'll have a few lines probably.
We'll see. But yeah, I think he's a fun character. He provides a certain level of comic relief that I enjoy. But he's totally. I think the character, not the actor, the character is pretty disposable. I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get to, for me at least, the first announcement where I actually got pretty excited. And that would be Tom Hiddleston back as Loki. I think it'll be
the God of Mischief.
Yeah, and I love the Loki series. I think it's probably the best series. No, not probably. It is the best series that Marvel has put out on Disney Plus so far. I think it's really something cool. I know you disagree, but you're wrong. And I think and I think any chance. I hope we get to see Thor and Loki interact once again after their last interaction in Infinity War. So I think they could do some cool stuff with this, especially now Loki being, the god of time or at the end of time or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And this one excites
so
me.
That'll be a surprise for Thor because he obviously still thinks he's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I mean, everybody loves Hiddleston in this role. This was a career-making role for Hiddleston, who's otherwise, really great and accomplished actor. But this, I think obviously this is the character that he is most associated with, and he's very, very good in the part. He always has been from the first Avengers movie on.
And I believe he's only gotten better with each portrayal.
I don't know why I said the first Avengers movie, but we had him before that in the Thor movies. But from the first time we saw him, and then I really think that he kind of stole the movie in the first Avengers movie.
Absolutely,
he was a scene stealer there. Yeah.
Yeah, he pretty much always is. And
okay,
now
and then it's our boy.
Yeah. Well, now we get into a pretty crazy run here.
Yeah.
You want to start us off?
Yeah, I will make it so. Patrick Stewart is going to be back as Professor X. He was obviously in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and was dispatched rather painfully in that film.
Yeah.
So good to see him back. Obviously, he is Professor X. I mean, it's amazing how great he is as that part. So I'm glad to see him, and then his partner in crime, Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah,
Gandalf himself back as
which
Magneto.
is much more interesting, by the way, seeing as he hasn't snuck his way in there yet. But touching back on Professor X real quick, I do think it's quite funny. I think he rivals Loki in the most amount of deaths and then resurrections in his movies, because we've seen this man die 3 times now, and here he is showing up again. But
yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's going to be a constant in the multiverse, because this guy just keeps coming back.
The reality is that the problem with the multiverse is that it really means the stakes are lowered.
Yeah.
You know, the more you think about it, the more you realize, they can basically bring back anybody at any point. Death is not final because there's theoretically an infinite number of these guys out there.
Right.
And so that part's a little disappointing, but yeah, I'm glad to see him back, as well as Ian McKellen.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a big McKellen fan, I know.
You said I am?
Yeah.
I mean, he's in my favorite movies of all time, so yeah, I am.
Yeah. I mean,
though controversial take, I actually think I actually prefer our younger Magneto.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
just me.
I don't know. I mean, they're both fantastic in that. Michael Fassbender is one of my favorite actors. I really love Michael Fassbender a lot. He's great. In fact, I really want to go see his movie that just came out with Cate Blanchett. I haven't got a chance to do that yet.
Black Bag.
Yeah. Soderbergh is one of my faves. And so, but I feel like for me, it's a coin flip between who I'd want to see in this film. And heck, we could see both of them. Who knows? I mean, that's another thing too. It's happened before.
And then this next announcement actually had me hop on the phone and call a buddy of mine, because I was like, whoa, this is actually pretty cool. And that's Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler. Someone we haven't seen in over 20 years, close to 25 years at this point in the character.
Well, I mean, he's going to single-handedly bring in the Gen Zers that are all fans of the traders.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, we were talking last episode about the Batman having pretty much the coolest opening scene in a comic book movie ever, and I think Nightcrawler is responsible for a close contender in X2. That White House scene is pretty special, I think.
Very good, yeah, it's very good, and I always loved his performance in that film, and it was really disappointing that after that one that we didn't get him back again. So,
yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited to see him there too. This next one's definitely a little bit of fan pandering. I'm not sure that I love it too much. I don't know that I ever loved her in this role, but Rebecca. Why am I not able to say her last name? How are you saying her last name?
Rebecca R.
Rebecca R. Okay, as Mystique. Yeah. Never been a huge fan of her portrayal in the character, but yeah, they're bringing that whole original crew back, including.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that,
including the next one on the list.
Yeah, James Marsden back as Cyclops. Let's put some respect on his name. Maybe treat him right. I don't know if the creators of the original X-Men movies know this, but Cyclops is a pretty important character, pretty cool guy, good leader. But you wouldn't know it from watching those movies. And then he's killed very unceremoniously. So, and I think he fits the role really well. So I hope they at least give him his moment to shine in this movie before they probably kill him off.
Unceremoniously by someone who is surprisingly not on this list.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I would have expected to see Famke Janssen here in as Phoenix, but yeah, Marsden definitely deserves a little bit more cred than he gets. But I like him a lot.
Absolutely.
In the role, so I'm happy to see him there. Now this next one is to me. I don't love it because I'm just not a Channing Tatum fan. I don't have any stock in Channing Tatum. I don't want to buy any stock in Channing Tatum. Obviously, his casting was also, fan casting, and in Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine. So, what did you think of his performance in that film as the character?
Well, I'll just tell you right now. Unfortunately, I think Gambit is just one of the coolest characters, and I think Channing Tatum is probably one of the biggest miscasts, in my opinion. I appreciate him in the role as a kind of a joke, But if I'm going to be told to take him seriously or expected to, I just can't. I think he looks really goofy. I think his outfit is great, but on him it looks goofy. So like I said, as a joke, it works. But the fact that he's coming back does make me nervous that they're going to want to keep exploring that direction with him. And I just have to say that beyond what we've seen, I don't think I'd be much of a fan.
Yeah. I mean, I don't love it either. Like I said, just as an actor, I mean, he pops up in some movies that I really like a lot. And every time he does, I'm like, oh, why is he in this? It's terrible. Whether it's The Hateful Eight
yeah.
or Bullet Train or any number of other films where he just sort of shows up and you're like, why is he in this? I don't love him. I definitely wish that they had recast Channing Tatum, and obviously with the whole premise of that multiverse aspect within Deadpool and Wolverine, he could have been any other actor. But that is something that's kind of weird, right? I mean, across the board. In some instances in the multiverse, it's the same actor. Multiplied in another instances, it's a totally different version. It's a little... They've never really explained that in a way that I feel like is super clear. I mean, unless I'm missing it. Do you think they explained that?
No, I agree with you. I don't think it necessarily fits any form of logic, but I'm just going to throw a quick quote from Tenet at you from our episode that'll never be released, and that's don't try to understand it, feel it.
Yes, well, I guess that's the case. That leads us to the last name on the list, which we've already hinted at, Pedro Pascal.
And then Robert Downey Jr. was actually
that's
last.
Right. Robert was the last guy, but of course we already sort of assumed since the movie's named, he is the titular character in that. So
not super surprising there.
Yeah, so real quick, let's talk about just this Fantastic Four cast and what your thoughts are on that as Pedro and the rest of the group are on this list.
I was initially very skeptical. I will say I found the trailer very intriguing, and I have become more optimistic. And I'm kind of just sitting in a place where I'm just leaving myself open to it until I see it. So we'll see. It could go one way or another.
It was oddly absent of any stretchy limbs, the trailer.
It's not ready yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's single-handedly the thing that either will make or break a movie about the Fantastic Four. I mean, it's definitely a superpower that lends itself much better to animation than it does to live action. And and so I mean, they haven't been able to do it right yet.
No,
we'll see if they do it right this time.
Yeah,
I mean, actually, I do feel like Krasinski's 30 seconds as Mr. Fantastic was good. I enjoyed him in the part, but we didn't really get we didn't get too much of the stretch.
Yeah, we didn't get to let it breathe.
Yeah. So generally, you're excited about this?
Yeah, I mean, generally, I am. I think. Yeah. I mean, there's a whole nother topic here in that movie alone, but I'm hoping we get to see Robert Downey Jr. show up in the Fantastic Four movie, even if it's just for a few minutes. I think we need to establish him as Victor Von Doom before he just shows up and starts killing everybody or beating everybody up. So I would be very surprised if he doesn't show up in Fantastic Four, at least for a scene or two.
At least as a sort of post-credit type of thing that could do a little bit of a Thanos situation here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So now I'll just kind of rapid fire some notable absences from this list. And I'm just going to kind of read all of them real quick, and then we can talk about some of them, maybe the biggest ones. But right off the bat, we have Hulk, Hawkeye, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, all the Eternals, all three of the Marvels, that being Captain, Miss, and Monica Rambeau. Wanda, which I know she's dead, but then we have She-Hulk, all of the Guardians, which again, not super surprising, but we do know that Star-Lord is supposed to come back. Wasp, Ant-Man's daughter, Cassie Lang, that's her name, sorry.
Yeah.
Nick Fury, War Machine, Deadpool, Wolverine, Jean, Storm, Vision, and then take your pick at any other number of X-Men there. So and that's not even mentioning, the side characters like Wong and Pepper and Happy and who knows what. But there's at least 50 established characters missing from this list, but there's at least a good 10 to 15 notable ones.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest surprise is Spider-Man not being there. I think they still have a lot of stock with him that works, and I guess the other one would be Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I'm not super surprised to not see Hugh Jackman there.
Right, me neither.
I feel like he did this one for the fans, and I don't know. I don't really expect him to come back. It was a huge hit, but I think he's also, or maybe not. Maybe like you said, he wants that Marvel bag. But
it's a good bag.
But I think for me it was Spider-Man and Deadpool that were the two. Now, maybe you could argue Deadpool doesn't work outside of a Deadpool movie.
Well, I think there's lots of interesting ways to make him work. I was always a fan of the gimmick, the idea of him being aware that he's in a PG-13 movie and trying to save the perfect F word, and then it eventually being stolen by somebody else. I think that'd be a great little gag. But
yeah,
I'll just tell you right now, though, I don't believe for 1 second that Spider-Man's not going to be in this movie. He is at this point, he just is Marvel.
He's the logo.
Yeah, and so they're not tricking me. Can't trick me anymore. Spider-Man's in this movie 100%. And you know who else is going to be in this movie 100%? Doctor Strange, probably the Hulk, and several other characters. I know for a fact they're not going to really tell us everybody who's in this movie the day they start filming or the day they go into production.
Yeah.
It'd be a weird move. And especially with these really obvious names missing and then some extremely less obvious names being on the list. I know that there's a second list out there that will either be released at some point or hopefully just to be experienced in the theater.
Yeah. How about not released? Yeah, I'm down. I mean, there's plenty of names on here to get people to open this movie. Let's save some for the gasps. I'm still upset about the way that they slowly leaked actors in both Deadpool, Wolverine, and Doctor Strange. I think both those movies had some amazing cameos, and not all of them, certainly. There were definitely some surprise cameos in both of those
plenty
films.
Of them spoiled.
Yeah, but plenty of them were spoiled. And there was just absolutely no reason for it. Patrick Stewart being the worst one of all. That was borderline offensive that they let us know that he was going to be in that film, because that was could have been such a cool moment. And instead the gasps were over Krasinski and who else?
Captain Carter and Black Bolt.
Captain Carter probably and Krasinski. Those were the big gasps. But I mean, imagine if we had no idea that Patrick Stewart was going to be in that film. That would have been amazing.
I don't love the spoiling game, but I do regret to inform you that we not only did we cheat, we pretty much spent a whole 20 minutes on maybe even more than 20 minutes on just that
one topic. Yeah. We are rapidly approaching the 45-minute mark. But that's fine, because that ends our 10 in 20 plus. Yep. And we are ready to move on to our list, right? Or are we going to do a competition here first?
We'll do a quick competition first.
Okay.
We're going to do a quick movie quote competition. I'm going to give you a quote. You're going to guess, vice versa.
Yep.
And if you'd like, I can just go ahead and give you your quote right now.
You're gonna give me my quote right now? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, you ready for it?
I'm ready.
My quote is it better to be feared or respected? I say, is it too much to ask for both?
Yeah, that's going to be Iron Man.
I thought it might be too easy for you, but I wasn't sure how long it'd been since you've seen the movie.
That's a good one.
I just thought it fit the theme of today.
It did fit the theme of today. Okay, I've got another one for you. We'll see how well you handle this one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dreams make good stories, but everything important happens when you're awake.
Ooh.
Sorry, when we're awake. Not when
we're awake.
Yeah.
I mean, my immediate thought is really my only thought, and I don't want to spend too much time thinking about it. So is that going to be Inception?
It is not. I finally stumped you.
Finally stumped me.
I finally
wasn't
stumped
too confident
you. All right.
there, but
that's all right.
This is a good one in that movie.
This is a good one, and it also connects back to one of our earlier topics. That line was uttered by Mr. Jason Momoa in the movie Dune.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You know, those are dense movies. I wouldn't say I can quite pull quotes from those yet, but
frickin' love them. They're both amazing films. I have to say, at the risk, we should dive into this topic in more detail later. I am worried about Dune Messiah. There is an awful lot of worm love in that book. I think I don't know how that book is going to translate. We'll see. But anyway,
we'll talk about it.
But the first two, I absolutely love it. All right, let's get into our list today. We are going to rank Marvel Phase One films, top to bottom. And I have to say, I am expecting a little bit of controversy. Even though this is a shorter list, we usually do 10. We have 6 films in Phase One. Braden, my son, give me your number 6, your last place film of the Marvel Phase One.
Yeah, absolutely. My last place is going to be Iron Man 2. Right off the bat, there's going to be a lot of moments, and it's exactly that. It's just moments from this movie that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But as a whole, I think it's a mess. It's one of the few MCU movies I really find myself getting bored with around the halfway point. I think it really just slows down to a crawl, and I think Tony is just entirely unlikable as a main character in this movie. And on top of that, he doesn't even know that the threat is existing for 80% of this movie. So it doesn't really feel like anything is pushing the movie forward.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that it's on the lower. I have it in the number 5 slot, not in the number 6 slot, but I agree with you. I think I'm not sure that we really wanted to sign up for a super depressed Tony Stark.
No.
You know, I mean, this is post Avengers, so he's really, you know, I mean, I guess he's sad. He's just really sad.
No, this is pre-Avengers.
Is it pre-Avengers? Okay. Why is he really sad again? I'm trying to remember now.
He's dying is the main thing. The shrapnel near his heart is getting closer, I believe, and also the arc reactor he created is slowly killing him. And so it's a combination between that and feeling like his purpose has shifted, and on top of that, dealing with his daddy issues. So it's a whole slew of reasons.
Daddy issues, I remember.
But
well, obviously,
not a bunch of super interesting reasons in my opinion.
Yeah, obviously, I haven't revisited it a lot. That's definitely on the lower end of rewatches for me. Not only in Phase One, but I would say in Marvel films generally.
But I will say, great Sam Rockwell performance. I think he's quite hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, so Sam Rockwell is probably single-handedly why I have this movie ranked above my number 6, which is The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, which is fair. They're pretty close to interchangeable for me.
Personally, I think that the casting of Edward Norton, it made sense to me at the time. I was excited about that casting. It's difficult to go back and relitigate that after Ruffalo in this film and totally takes the Hulk in a different direction.
Very different, yeah.
For that matter, Bruce Banner in a totally different direction. And that works so well, but I don't know that means that where they wanted to go with Norton couldn't have worked.
I agree.
It would have been a totally different. It would have completely changed Avengers. It would have completely changed everything else they did with Hulk. And Ruffalo certainly was, really, I think, helped to keep the MCU on the right path. So that was a good. Ultimately, it turns out to be a good correction on their part. But I don't know. I I definitely have very little interest in rewatching this film, despite how much I enjoy Edward Norton as an actor.
Yeah, it does present an interesting what if scenario. But yeah, those are our 6 and 5 slots.
So meaning that you have it in the number 5 slot.
Yeah, I have it in 5. And interesting enough, so we have 6 and 5 reversed from each other.
Yeah.
And funny enough, we also have 4 and 3 reversed and 2 and 1 reversed. So you and I are just all over the map, but in like the general area with each other here, it looks like. But in 4, I have Captain America: The First Avenger. Captain America he just is my favorite character in the MCU, 100%. But his first movie is not my favorite. I definitely enjoy it. It's the weakest of his 3, without a doubt, in my opinion. And I would consider this a good movie. It's not in my, it's not very high up there for me in Marvel, just because I feel like they just did much more interesting things with his character moving forward. And I think I'm just a little worn out on origin stories.
Well, but we didn't have it. I mean, we hadn't got there yet. So I actually think that everything that they do with the I was going to say de-aging. It's not really de-aging. It's turning him into Chris Evans, really. De-hunking of Chris Evans in the beginning of the film is pretty impressive.
To this day,
I really love Peggy Carter's introduction, and I was really surprised to see that I had ranked this higher than you had ranked it, knowing how important Captain America is to you, where he sits in the MCU and pantheon. So, but yeah, I mean, I had it. You're right. I had it up there at 3. And I think it's a little bit better than what I have in the 4 slot, which was Thor. Granted, I just told you that Thor was one of my favorite characters, period, in the MCU.
So we kind of did the same thing here.
Yeah, I guess so. And again, I don't dislike the movie Thor. I think that Thor is a good movie. I'm a big fan of Portman. I'm a big fan of Hemsworth and everybody else in the film. But I do think that in rewatch, Thor is still sort of Hemsworth is still trying to figure out who Thor is.
Absolutely. I mean, that's pretty evident, but it kind of just has a charm for me. Every time I revisit it, I'm always pleasantly surprised with how much I enjoy it. But yeah, we don't need to talk too much more about it. I have that in my 3 slot, where you have Captain America. So we're reversed again, but again, both movies I think are really, really fun. I enjoy them both.
Mm-hmm. So then we're down to 1 and 2.
Yeah. What do you have in your 2?
I've got the Avengers in 2. And obviously we're down to only 2 left. And you already let us know that was your number 1. I mean, I think the Avengers is a really fantastic film. I love it. And but personally, I just think that there's one that is a better film. And arguably one of my favorite MCU films of all time, sitting in that number 1 slot. So I rank it a little bit lower, but The Avengers is fantastic. I really don't have. It's difficult to say anything negative about it. Especially including that star-making performance from Hiddleston, and just how well that they had set this up with these 5 other films for us. And really getting excited. They do a pretty great little quick intro for us with for Hawkeye. I know we'd already seen him for a few moments previously, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoy Avengers, but I just have it in 2 instead of 1.
Yeah, I'll touch on that in a moment, but for now we can just talk about my number 2, your number 1, Iron Man. Thoughts?
Yeah,
so number 1, you talk about it.
I think that it's obviously was sort of it was the first MCU movie. We hadn't had a great superhero movie in a while. Marvel certainly anyway. Rather, we hadn't had a great Marvel movie in a while. It'd be sort of just like pretty bad after pretty bad after pretty bad. And it really seemed at the time. It's funny to think about it now that DC knew how to make superhero movies and Marvel did not.
Right.
And obviously the tides have turned, though we're back kind of in this weird, four-year period now where it feels like Marvel doesn't know how to make movies anymore. But
we're in a little bit of limbo, yeah.
But this was so rewarding, and it exceeded expectations to such a degree that I loved it. It was also great seeing Downey just so sort of perfectly embody a character. And Tony Stark was always one of my favorite Marvel characters, period. Iron Man, Tony Stark.
I know that.
He's the Bruce Wayne of the MCU, and Batman's my favorite of all time. So I always really liked him. So I was super excited when that film came out. I loved every part of it.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I have a very vivid memory of being in your bedroom when I was very young. I have no idea how old, but it must have been pretty young because I'd never heard of Iron Man before.
Uh-huh.
And you described him to me, and all I could see in my head was a man with an iron in his hand, and, and I was like, this guy sounds like he sucks. I mean, I don't want to watch his cartoon.
Iron Man.
Yeah.
Iron Man. Yeah, he gets your clothes pressed well.
I mean, I have to agree with you. It definitely just right off the bat sets the tone and the course and the trajectory for the whole MCU. Tony Stark, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr. absolutely carries the first three phases on his back. I fully recognize that, even though I have some other characters I enjoy a little more. It's undeniable he's amazing in that role.
Yeah.
What they did in that first movie was incredible, and to this day, it's an amazing rewatch.
It is.
But
it really
the only
is.
reason, the main reason I have Avengers higher is I think it was maybe even more pivotal for the MCU, and it was kind of a, does this experiment work? Does what we've been trying to do, is it going to work, or is it going to fail horribly?
Yeah, no doubt.
It
set the tone for DC failing as well. I mean, they saw that, they saw the Avengers work, and then they rushed it. But it was really great to see. It was really great to see them succeed with that experiment. And not just once, but a few more times they succeeded with this formula.
Absolutely.
And, So, like I said, I can't really say anything too bad about the Avengers. I think similar to what you said about the middle half of Iron Man 2, I think there are parts of the Avengers where there's just has to be so much exposition. And I think this is something that all of the Avengers movies have a little trouble. Like, we've got to sit down and we've got to have everybody in a room, arguing with each other about what to do next, and the ethics of it and all that sort of stuff. So, so there's a few moments there where I'm like, okay. But otherwise, I think it's a fantastic film, and I think worthy of your number one ranking.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say that definitely doesn't bother me in this first one, and I've seen this movie so many times. When I turn it on, beat for beat, almost line for line, I can just quote it. There was even a gap where I hadn't watched it in 3 or 4 years. I turned it on and I was like amazed at how much I could quote the movie and remember the different beats, the different lines, the different cues. I just love it. And I have to say, my least favorite part of it is Captain America's goofy looking costume, but
quite I
don't
know why they went backwards there. Yeah, they downgraded
very backwards.
Yeah. I totally
but
agree.
But that is our Marvel Phase One ranking.
All right.
I think we did pretty good there. And
we were pretty aligned. I mean, I do think it's interesting that the first and the last of the phase are to both of us top ranked. Really strong start, really strong finish.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. We are getting ready to close out this episode, but we're going to have one last challenge this time for you. Keeping with our theme of Marvel team-up films, etc., I would like you to, in 60 seconds, I would like you to identify as many Marvel villains as you can.
Is this movies or
Yeah. Sorry, MCU villains.
All right, I'm ready.
Hold on, I gotta just get your timer ready to go, and you have 60 seconds starting now.
All right, we're gonna start off with Red Skull, Ironmonger, Loki, the Frost Giants. Then we are going to have Whiplash, Justin Hammer. Then we are going to do Thanos. Let's get one of the bigger ones out of the way. Thanos, Ultron. Now I'm drawing blanks, of course. We have Abomination. We have General Ross. We have Red Hulk. We have Hydra. That doesn't really count. This is embarrassing. You're right. This is tough. We have Baron Zemo. We have Ghost. We have Yellow Jacket. We have Ronan the Destroyer. We have Ego. We have the High Evolutionary.
5 seconds?
5 seconds. Oh, shoot.
And time. You wasted those 5 seconds.
Dude, I know. That was
do or do not.
Embarrassed.
You know what's even more embarrassing is I didn't even bother to count that. So you'll have to add you'll have to add your little tacker.
We will.
Counter on TikTok. But that was pretty good. I think you for sure nailed way more of them than I would have been able to.
You say it was good, and yet I feel ashamed. I felt like I spent half the time saying but not too bad. I'll work on it.
Well, the ums are gonna come. The ums are gonna come. Yeah.
Absolutely. That wasn't too bad.
No, not at all. Not at all. Another great episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight and talking through this stuff. And I have to say, based on where you're at right now, pretty proud of you, little Padawan. You're doing too good. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
it.
Anyway,
thank you so much for hanging out with us on the I'm Your Father podcast. I hope you enjoyed the show. Spread the word, subscribe, like, share, all that kind of stuff, and join us for more pop culture talk.
Yes, please. Until next time, may your popcorn be buttery and the force be with you. Thanks, guys.
See you later.